I'm here on my second glass of white wine, and it's actually one of the things that is so wonderful about the Solimar parties that they have during Printing United here in Atlanta. And one of the things I really like about it as well is the opportunity to get to meet exciting people. And I have the opportunity now to talk to Eric from a company called RevSpring. And see, I was so stupid that I asked where they were located. And you have like 3 locations, 850 people employed, and 1 billion transaction prints a year. Mailings a year.
Mailings, yeah.
Good to see you, Eric.
Good to see you. Thanks.
How on earth do you handle 1 billion shipments? I mean, that's just, you have to put a stamp on each envelope, right? You have to have an address on each envelope. You have to be certain that you have the right content in each envelope that you're sending out. I mean, how do you do that?
We have great employees and great partners, good technology, and it all has to work together. So, that we average about 4 million pieces of mail a day, and all of it has to be turned.
4 billion pieces per day.
And it's in a 24-hour turn. So the data that we received yesterday has to be in the mail stream today, the following day. So,
and who is the centers of these? I mean, it must be a lot of different sources, right?
So a lot of different customers, primarily healthcare customers. So we're consuming patient medical data from either a billing system or a hospital group or individual physician groups, and we turn that into some type of communication, whether that's just a letter or a statement, an appointment reminder. It may be a postcard, or it may be...
So it's not just like letters with, let's say, plain papers. It is also different types of, let's say, formats and substrates and all that kind of things?
It is. The vast majority is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper into an envelope. So,
but I mean, despite the fact that it is like the majority, it is still an operation that you need to be very... I mean, you have to pay a lot of attention to the detail, right? I mean, you cannot just have a day over where you say, tomorrow, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So quality and accuracy are, paramount in our environment. It's a highly compliant, set of customers that we have. Our customer base is, obviously not tolerant of, mistakes or errors, and so we have really fortified the environment with technology, right? And so we take as much of like the human element out of it. Our people are very important to us, but
just on this particular thing, you cannot depend on hands and feet, right?
People make mistakes, and that's okay. So we've got to figure out. We always take the approach: how can I prevent that mistake from happening? And technology really gets us there.
I was just wondering, because as you have 3 locations, are you printing and producing print on all the 3 locations?
We are.
Yeah. Why not centralized? I thought that everybody talks about big is beautiful, and centralized would be better and easier. Is that not the case, or?
So we find that it's important for us to have geographically separate locations, and that does a couple of things for us. So one, you have really good disaster recovery. If one site were to go down, the other site can pick up the work.
So it's also a part of a redundancy plan, basically.
It is. Redundancy and disaster recovery for us. And then our customers also, we do something for them where we distribute their mail upstream digitally, and we print the mail at the closest location to reduce the mail time, right?
So reduce mail time, but does it also reduce mail costs, or is that not so significant in this particular thing?
Yeah, not really significant. So we're paying first-class postage rates, and that it doesn't matter the destination, but it could cut. If you have a mail piece that needs to be delivered in New York, and I'm printing it in Phoenix, it's going to take a while to get there. Where if I can print it in Pennsylvania, you may cut 3-4 days off of the mail time.
Do you in a company like yours, do you have like SLAs that requires not just, as you said, it has to be delivered for shipping, but do you have also SLAs when it is expected to arrive with a
our
client?
Customers do. It's difficult to.
You haven't control on the USPS,
right? So that's the issue, right? So we control what we can control, and that is from the point of data receipt to it going out the door. That has to be done in 24 hours. Our customers, a lot of the medical mailings, they're tied to a certain number of days to actually get it to the mailbox. So it's important that we hit our SLAs so that it doesn't put the rest of that timeline in jeopardy.
What kind of print technology do you have?
So we have a lot of different technology.
I can imagine that, yeah.
We are.
But is it web-based or?
It is web-based, primarily web-based, the vast majority.
Yeah.
I have 8 roll-fed presses, so I have 6 Canon 3900s and 6900s.
Is that like monochrome, or is that like
full color CMYK? It's the color stream platform.
Okay. Oh yeah, the color stream. Yeah. Sure.
And then I have 2 Ricoh VC 40,000s.
Those I know.
And then we have 9 cut sheet boxes, toner boxes.
Okay. So. And is it? I mean, when you invest in new technology, I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, uptime is obviously important, right? But operational cost, how important is that? I mean, it seems that when you are in a segment where it is critical data, then critical uptime is more important than operational cost, or how do you see that?
Well, so it's a balance, right? So I mean, operational cost is very important. You know, we obviously want to run a profitable business like everyone else, and our customer base is cost sensitive, just as many are. So I think that we've achieved both, right? So I think that we select equipment that has incredible uptime and it's very dependable. And it also has a very low operating cost. So both are important in our world.
Is it difficult to choose equipment?
There's a lot of good equipment on the market.
I mean, now we're here at Printing United. I have to ask you because, I mean, I guess that every booth you come into, they want your money, right?
They do, and you know we're a big printer, right? And so they know that we are buying.
So when you have that T-shirt, you cannot be really anonymous, right?
You can't be, and I don't know that you need to be anonymous, but folks know who you are. It's still a pretty small community, even though you look around and there's hundreds of people here. You know, it is well known that RevSpring's a big printer, and we buy presses every year, and we buy inserting equipment every year.
Is that like you have like a, let's say, a turning period on all the equipment, so you always have like kind of also a redundancy plan on the equipment side?
It is. So it's important to us that our equipment is fresh and new, and you know, I've worked for companies that let equipment age, and you start having problems, and it eventually impacts your customers, and it impacts your ability to achieve SLAs. RevSpring has made a very intentional decision that, you know, we're going to keep our fleet of equipment, you know, state of the art, and you know, the technology, it evolves, and you know, a 10-year-old press probably isn't the right choice for us.
I mean, it's also interesting because, I mean, we always talk in the industry about this digital transformation that takes place right now, and I can't help think about that. If you look at even if you look at like a 2 or 3 or 4 years old inkjet press, right? The newest iteration has so many advantages in not only in speed but also in quality, and sometimes even they try to push the customers to buy these because they can offer lower operational cost on the devices. So I take that in an operation like yours, that is something that you have to keep an eye on, right?
100%. And we look at those models every year, right? So a new press comes out, we're running the numbers to see.
Is it now or is it next year, or when is it?
Yeah, and you know, is whatever upgrade they came out with
worth the money, right?
Worth the money, right? And how much of a difference is it going to make for our customer base, where it may not be that important in healthcare, and it could be really important for somebody else.
One of the things it's every time I talk to Americans, it's like you have the healthcare business on print is really big here. It's non-existing in Europe, right? Because it's totally different from here, right? I was just wondering, if you talk about transactional data in general, one of the trends that I've seen for many years is that turning transactions into transpromo, into like, let's say, more like value-added kind of information pieces. Is that something that you see also from your side? I mean, the reason I'm asking, I'm curious about the requirements on, let's say, the next iteration of equipment, because everybody's improving on colors, everybody's improving on what substrates you can print on. Is that something that has any meaning to a company like yours, or?
So it could. It doesn't in our customer base today. Okay. So we are, when we design documents, they are full color. We do interchange graphics based on the demographic of the recipient.
Is it like if you have a photo of a state, or the center has different logos in different states, or?
It could be, or it could be a different graphic based on the iteration of the bill. So, some bills stay in a collection
So
cycle.
it's like
for-
red, yellow, green, or something
It
like
could
that.
be,
Yeah.
Or you may offer financial assistance if something has aged to like a certain like day or something like
So
that.
you're using, let's say, the print technology and the colors to emphasize the importance of the message, basically. Yeah.
Or, it could be something where if we have enough intelligence on how this individual paid their bill in the past, and let's say I know you pay with a credit card, I'm not going to put the check remit at the bottom of the statement. I'll replace that with something else because I know that you're on auto pay with a credit card or something like that. So it allows our customers to be strategic about the space on the statement and let them choose how they use it. All the data elements are not important for everyone.
So when you receive data from your customers, are they always like, I was about to say print ready and streamlined, or is this where Solimar comes in place, or?
So it depends. So we will, RevSpring's philosophy is we will take it however you can give it to us, and then we'll fix it. Right?
Even on paper, do you scan them and?
Okay,
We try not to do that,
limitations
but
here, right?
I'm not saying we would never do that. So we will, you primarily get your data two ways, right? So you either get a fully composed document, which is really typically an export from like a health.
Okay, so it's typical like file-based. It's not like integrated to like dynamic data.
So it could be.
Okay.
The first scenario would be that the hospital platform is generating the statement. It's a PDF usually, and they give it to us. And
You get PDF data.
And we pull it in.
I thought you were going to get a stream of data and then you
So
formatted it,
our
right?
preferred method is a stream of data because we have more control.
That's just like an XML file, basically.
It is,
right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so,
But if you, I'm just out of curiosity because you're also technical. I was just wondering, if you work with a software that can output a PDF, PDF is essentially an XML file that has just been formatted as a special format, right? Couldn't you, from the same system, just require them to send XML data, or?
So you could. The challenge is that a lot of the healthcare software platforms are not print-centric. They are producing PDFs for a digital archive or a digital image.
So it has several purposes, basically, because okay. So you get the PDF files, and then what happens then?
Well, so a lot of the PDF files are not, you can't print them. You'll send them to the RIP or the controller, and the file will abort. So we have
because it's screen-based PDFs, more or less, or
it's like an archive PDF, and so it doesn't have all the assets in it that the printer needs to achieve a successful print. And so what Solimar does for us is we will do a lot of different things. We could run a quick check on that PDF to thumbs up or thumbs down. Is it going to print or not?
And you do that by one, and you have 4 millions of day. So it needs to be fast, right?
It has to be fast.
Yeah.
And the other thing it will do is it will actually correct a file for us. So, we have a lot of files that come without fonts in them, and fonts are pretty important, right?
So no embedded fonts, and then I can't remember if you have a PDF file where you don't have embedded fonts, you still have the font name, right? So basically you can replace them if you have the fonts on file, basically, right?
You could.
Yeah.
You
But
could.
if you don't have, you have to figure out how to solve that, right?
Right. And so, a lot of times what will happen, and it's problematic for us at least, is that if you leave that to the printer, the piece of hardware and the controller, it'll do some random substitution that isn't
Just
intentional.
courier, so that's
Yeah, and it doesn't, the output isn't what you expect.
No.
So we want to make sure we control that up front where we dictate what the substitution is.
So you can have that as part of this SLA, saying that if we receive data that doesn't have the font information, then we substitute it with this kind of fonts, for example.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Super interesting, right?
Yeah.
So you do that more than 4 million times a day.
We do.
Must be an amazing operation.
It is, and it's complicated, and we are built on, so RevSpring is a collection of companies. So we have acquired a lot of companies over the years.
So you have growth through unorganic, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we have some organic growth as well, but what that means internally at RevSpring is you have a lot of different composition platforms, a lot of different ways of assimilating your data.
And obviously a lot of different customers.
A lot of different customers.
Yeah.
But our print floor is surprisingly standardized. So we take all of the data from all those different platforms and you distill it down into a common workflow and a common platform that we can execute print at any one of our 3 facilities. So I can literally take the common print file and split it based on the final destination of the mail piece, and send West Coast stuff to Phoenix, send East Coast stuff to Oaks, Pennsylvania, or and you know, it's interchangeable, and we can load balance, you know, literally at the flip of a switch.
So basically, if you have like a facility that goes down or have a power out or whatever, you can just reroute basically.
Staffing issues, any number of things, right? So it allows us to consistently hit 100% SLA day after day.
So do you ever sleep, or are you always working? Or?
I sleep a lot.
sleep a lot, okay.
Yeah. I do have 2 small kids at home, so sometimes that gets in the way.
So it's not because of RevSpring, it's because
Right.
of the 2 small kids, right? Okay.
I will tell you, RevSpring has an incredible team.
Yeah.
You know, we have 200 people on the production side of the business, and they keep the factories running. I have an incredible management team. I have incredible operators. So, you know, we run 24 hours a day.
Eric, super nice talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.